Hello and welcome to North Star Stamper. I'm Sue Kramer. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Minnesota. I'm looking for myself on my tablet so I can chat with you a little bit. Let me know that you're watching. If you're a new viewer, welcome. I did meet a whole bunch of people on Saturday. I did a craft show. So I met a whole bunch of lovely people. So hello and welcome if you're joining me for the first time. So I'm joining myself, but it's not showing up yet on there. So anyway, let's get started. If you need to contact me, the best way is to go to my website, northstarstamper.com, and there's a Contact Sue form that you can put information in there and whatever message you need to get to me, and I believe I get an email when you do that. So I should check that email more often. So if you're waiting to hear from me, I'll go check that when we're done. So thank you for joining me. I am so happy to be live with you. I think I was only live once in November, wasn't I? Oh boy, that was a busy month. 2 Mondays I was on my way or in Vienna, Austria for Stampin' Up's convention, and then I was home for a week. That was the week of Thanksgiving, and then I went to Michigan for my aunt's funeral. May she rest in peace. And now it's December, and I'm back. So hello, thank you for joining me. We're going to get started. So for my craft show, and it was called a Christmas boutique, I made these cute little treat holders. People thought they were cute. Nobody bought any, so I will be sharing these with lots of people that I know. So my kids will get them. I can put them in lunch boxes. I thought they would be cute on a Christmas table and put one on each plate on the table. You could put them on a coworker's desk. What else did I think? I guess those were the things that I had thought of. So I will be giving these to my children and their housemates and apartment mates and coworkers. I'll share something while we're waiting for more people to join us. Do you remember the treat boxes? Oh, I think I used the Paper Pumpkin Halloween treat boxes, and I just put chocolate candy in them. And I gave them some to my son, and he took them to work and gave them to people he was eating lunch with. And one person said the chocolate tasted better because of the packaging. And another one said that she was going to keep the packaging because it was so cute. She was going to keep it forever. So I will probably make them some Christmas treats and send them to brighten their lunchtime. So I'm going to make one of these just because I have them to show you. It uses a 1 by 4 inch piece of designer series paper. Talk about using your scraps. That is a pretty tiny scrap in my book. So it's 1 by 4 inch. I did use one of our banner punches. You could even just round the edge. I'm not even sure you have to do anything to it, but I thought it gave it a nice finish. So what I like to do is turn my punch over and make sure it's lined up straight. And I do both ends. What else was I supposed to tell you? I think that was everything. Make sure I go in the same slot. And this is 1 inch because I knew that's how wide my slot was here. And punch that. And now I have a pretty decorative end. I'm going to take, let's see, let's do the treat next. I'm going to use glue dots. For these, I did use a different brand of glue dot because I had them and I needed to use them. They were bigger than these, so I'm actually going to put 2 glue dots on there. So I put my item onto the glue dot and use my thumb to push it up. So I'm going to push it up, and now I have 2 glue dots on my mint. I'm going to fold this in half, or just kind of bend it in half so I know where my mint is going to go. I'm going to put it in the bottom and push hard. I don't know if that's in the right place. Let's try again. Move that up a little bit. I'm going to push so that it adheres, so my mint is adhered. And then I'm going to fold it in half. I'm going to line up my ends and use a hole punch. I don't know that Stampin' Up! Has a big hole punch right now. I think ours is smaller. Turn it around. Punch a hole. And then I'm going to use a piece of twine I did have a piece of our Baker's Essential Pack twine, and then I remembered that my friend gave me all this beautiful twine. Thank you, Diane. So I'm using an 8-inch piece of twine, and I'm just going to put it right through the hole. And okay, we're going to see if I can tie a bow live on video. This is nice and long. It must be longer than 8 inches. But for the white ones, I did do 8 inches. And then I'm just going to tie a bow. You could make it a bigger hole and use wider ribbon or something. That's cute, just like that. But we're going to decorate it up a little bit more. So for the ones that say enjoy, the enjoy is actually from the cup of tea. Where is enjoy? Sorry, I have to put it towards me. It's up here. So it's nice and little. I don't remember where the Christmas cheer came from. If you have for unto us, this is a nice small Merry Christmas. I don't have the right color ink, so we're just going to wing it. I have soft suede here. I think there's no soft suede in there. You get the idea. I have a small Merry Christmas, and I thought I knew where this stamp was from, but I couldn't find the set. So if you have ever gotten Paper Pumpkin in October or November, you may have a small Merry Christmas. But look through your stamp sets. Oh my goodness, I had a little box. And then I'm going to use our double oval punch in the bottom one. Line it up. Punch. You could add another layer with the scalloped oval. It's actually not scalloped. It's, I don't know what you'd call that. The edged oval. If you want to add another layer. I think of these as very disposable treats. I don't think anybody would keep their packaging. So I'm going to put 2 glue dots on the back of my oval and put it on there. Cute little treat. I don't know how long that took me, 5 minutes. So the DSP, again, the pattern paper was 1 inch by 4 inch. Or you could make it wider if your treat is bigger and you have something to make a decorative edge. Like a scalloped circle punch. You could go as wide, almost as wide as your punch is in diameter, to make a fun scalloped edge. So that is one little Christmas treat for you to try. I think they'll be really cute on a Christmas table or in Christmas stockings. All right, I lost my feed here. Let me go back and see. All right, there we are again. Bring back comments. Okay, hello, hello. Hi, Mom. I hope you're feeling well, and say hi to Dad, too. Oh, and I saw that Chris was here. Say hi to Chuck. He said he watches. I will say hello to everybody today. Hello, Kathy, and Alma, and Anne. I think that's everybody. If I missed you, I'm sorry. It doesn't tell me how many people are watching. Okay, so this is the Christmas card we're going to make. It uses the Piece to You stamp set. I believe that's in the July through December mini. And I think this is also in the mini. Yeah. We're going to use the Merry Christmas along with the May God's Hope and Love Shine on You this season. And when I was making this, I noticed that my Night of Navy ink pad wasn't stamping as dark as I would like. So you can see the Christmas is a little lighter than the Merry. So we're going to talk about re-inking for just a minute. So our original, well, these aren't the original. We had older ink pads than this, but I think I am out of my flip-top ink pads from way back 20 years ago. So if you have a linen ink pad, and I don't know if you can see, it's linen. I don't want to touch it. But if you use a more solid image, you might actually get the image of the linen from the pad onto your stamp. If that's the case, just ink it up more, and you might be able to get rid of that linen pattern on your solid images. For these, I would ink and ink and ink and ink and add more ink and more ink and more ink until it was completely saturated. I have learned that with our, this is the next version of ink pads we had, it is a sponge, just like our current ink pad. So I think they use the same pad, they just changed the plastic case. So if you're using a sponge pad, which is our current ones, you can't ink them up as much. I don't have an example handy. But I did that with one of my ink pads. I added as much as it would hold, and it was a sloppy mess. So what I've learned, and I need to re-ink my Night of Navy, so make sure you have the right ink refill for the right ink pad. I do shake mine up a little bit. And then I'm just going to go back and forth. Come on. And hopefully you can see the ink is coming out. So I'm going to go every which way. I'm hoping you can see. I don't know, maybe if I go in an angle. It is absorbing into the sponge. And then when it doesn't, I just rub it with the tip of the re-inker to kind of push it into the sponge. Let me find a piece of paper. I know I use that for... So I'm going to ink all over at different directions and see if it's stamping better. And I will show you that it is. I'm going to add a little more. The Christmas still isn't quite as solid. And I don't know that you can see. There. Hopefully you can you see those dots, and they just absorb. So I'm not going to put a lot on, but I'm going to keep testing it. Because as I said, I found it possible to add too much ink to these. With the old linen, I couldn't add too much. It just absorbed. And I don't know if you can tell the difference. I can see the difference, and I don't know how good my camera is. If you can tell that this Merry Christmas is crisper and more solid than the bottom Merry Christmas. So that is re-inking one of our new ink pads. Newer ink pads. Obviously, this isn't even the newest version. The soft suede one was our newest. Okay, let's make this card. I had a lot of fun. So I want to thank Anne. This was her idea. I showed this paper, and this is the annual catalog on page 139, the Brushstroke, and I can't even remember what card I made. I think I used the soft succulent, and Anne had suggested, and this was several months ago, that I emboss on the blue, and then I just love that stamp with in blue. So this is the Brushstroke paper. It's quite thin, and I have a piece already cut for us. Again, the colors are Blushing Bride, Night of Navy, and Soft Succulent. You do only get 3 sheets, so I'm using it rather sparingly. Oh, it's only $5, so it's a little more than $1 a sheet. Less than $2 though. So I do have a Night of Navy card stock base, and I'm doing a top fold just for something a little different. And I have a piece of Very Vanilla to go on the inside. I'm going to set those to the side. Because this is, can you see? Let me stand up and see what you're seeing. Look at the beautiful brush stroke, and it's just like they say. It is rather thin though. And I wondered how it was going to work to emboss on that, but it worked fine. If you look at the difference between this image and this image here, it does stamp solidly with the dots that are supposed to be stars, but in my embossed, you can see the brush stroke, which I kind of like. It makes it look like it's snowing. I have no idea if it snows in Bethlehem that time of year or this time of year, so I don't know if it's realistic or not, but I think it's beautiful. I did use my Stamparatus, which I like to use when I have solid images like this, because I want to make sure I get a good image, and I can re-stamp it if I don't get a good image. So I'm going to show you how I did this. We're going to start from scratch. Take this off. I do not have the black cushion underneath because it is a red rubber, and there's a cushion there already. So I'm going to, let's see this way, sorry. I'm going to line it up, thinking that I have it along this line here, but I'm going to test it. Quick, get that out of the way. I'm just going to use Night of Navy because it's what I have. Doesn't matter if I have a good solid inking, because this is not the image I'm going to use on my card. So push down on where the stamp is, not here, right where the stamp is. All right. And I make sure it's in the corner, so if it does stick like that, I can pick it up. Let me turn this a little bit sideways. All right, so I know that I lined that up pretty well. Look how straight that line is with this line here. I do need to clean this. Whoa. Because we are going to emboss. Clean that really good. All right, I'm hoping you can see what I'm doing here. All right, good, you can. We're gonna put this here, and I like to put a case under the plate so it's more flat. We are going to put this piece of Brushstroke designer paper. I'm gonna slide it up. Let's see, if I put it either side, I can line it up with that line right there, and I'm going to use my very strong magnets. Oops, hold on. There we go. Line it up there on either side of where my image is going to go. That one's not far enough. All right. To emboss, I'm going to use my embossing buddy. This will keep the embossing powder from sticking anywhere other than where I have my stamped image. Let's clean up a little bit here. I'm going to use Versamark ink. It is a pigment ink, but there's no pigment in it, no color in it. So it'll, my embossing powder will adhere to the image. All right, I can see on the stamp where I have ink and where I don't. So that's why I can see where I need to go. I don't know if you can tell, probably not. So I'm going to set that down and push right where the stamp is. Just hold it for just a minute. That looks really good. On my card, I did have this little fleck here, and I don't see it on this one. All right, so we can put our stamparatus away. I'll clean that image later. Now I need my white embossing powder. I do keep mine in containers like this. I have a spoon in here. I should use it. I just think it's much less messy to use large containers like this. Yes, they take more space in my craft area, but I should emboss more often. This is really fun. So I'm curious, how many of you saw embossing, and that's what kind of hooked you on stamping? That was the first thing I saw demonstrated. I do have this little bit of powder down here, so I'm going to brush it off. And I see I didn't get a very good image up there at the top. Oh well, we shall see. There's probably ink left in my stamp. I don't know. Alright, this is going to be a little noisy, sorry. I'm going to hold it up so you can see the magic. I'm going to let this warm up. I'm down in the bottom left corner of the image. Can you see it melting? I think you can. And I'm just going back and forth watching where the I watched where the powder melted. I'm going to set that aside. I'm kind of bummed I didn't notice the ink up there. Missing up there. So we're going to let that cool for a minute. It did warp it a little bit, a lot less than I thought it would. I did not think I'd be able to emboss on this paper because it is kind of thin, but it worked. It worked. All right, so there's where we're going. My layer under that is a piece of Shimmer White that I've used the painted texture 3D embossing folder. And when you use that, you have to use the specialty plate, the number 4 plate, which the directions are all on the this base plate. It tells you to use number 4 with the 3D embossing. So that's what I did. Again, this is shimmer. I don't know if you can tell. There's just a little bit of shimmer, like a glimmer paper. Well, not glimmer. They call our glitter paper glimmer paper. So there's another layer. And then I used a champagne rhinestone to highlight the star. Okay, this should be dry by now. And you can see there's a little bit of powder left from the embossing buddy on there. So I'm just going to use a paper towel to gently wipe that. There we go. And I'm going to use a trimmer, if I can find it, to trim this down a little bit. I see my left side, my right side is a little bigger than my left side, so I'm going to trim that. And I'm going to trim the bottom. That's a nice scrap to put under a sentiment. And then I'm going to line up the top angled edge there right through my, here, let me use my teacher pick tool. I can see it right through this little gully here that holds my blade. So I know that I can get both sides pretty much the same. And then again, I see that my angled edge right through this gully, and I'm going to hold the paper right there. And that should be pretty close. Let's see how I did this time. Not too bad. Although I kind of wish I had trimmed it a little more. I am going to trim it more and see if I can't get... It's curling up, so I'm going to turn it over. I'm going to trim another 1/4 inch off each side. Alright, that works. And a 1/4 inch off here. This time I'm going to put that edge, so I'm going to be consistent on where I put that embossed edge. Now I'm putting it to the inside of that track. That'll have to do. Get all the scraps out of the way. Alright, we still have to stamp the inside of our card. Oh, I didn't think. I should have an envelope. They're on the other side of the room, but I will stamp the envelope. No naked envelopes, right? And where did my paper go? We're going to stamp. May God's hope and love shine on you this season in Night of Navy. That's why I re-inked it. Ink, 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 ink. Normally I would practice, but I will chance it. That looks good. And then my Merry Christmas. So I'm moving it around my ink pad because I don't know if that ink has all distributed across my ink pad. Look at that. Don't forget to buy your re-inkers when you get a new ink pad. Makes a big difference in your stamping. Alright. Now to put it all together. Let's put this down first. I hope you can see that glimmer paper, that you've at least seen this paper. It's very pretty. I'm putting a little more glue back here than I normally do because it is not flat. And this is 3 3/4 by 5 inches. And here again, this is buckling, so I'm going to put glue, sorry if you can't see what I'm doing, all over. And see, I can't do adhesive while I talk. Alright. Not the most perfect card, a little off, but you get the idea. And here again, you can see those swirls above the Holy Family. I think it's beautiful. We're going to need that. So there's that. And I have glue on my fingers, and this goes on the inside. Put my heart on there. Made with love, right? This one, oh, I did choose a bigger one. This is 4 by 5 1/4. And on the back, I like to stamp. This one's going to say, made with love. I need ink. And then I'll sign it. They won't necessarily be able to see it. And then our large champagne rhinestone right in the middle of the star. And there you have it, a Christmas card using the Piece to Use stamp set. My newsletter this week, I will be highlighting the stamp set again. I have some ideas for, other ideas for using the stamp set. That's what we have today. Let me grab those treats again. I see Brianna's watching. Hello, Brianna. Normally I don't see you on here. I know you watch, but let's see, who else did I miss? Who else did I miss? Oh, Anne, that was a great idea. She suggested I use a brush, or I could use a dauber or something to add ink where I missed, and then add more powder. I didn't look. Sorry, I should have. Kathy's comment says, I always wondered why I had that funny texture on the stamped image. Never thought about it being the image from the linen pad. Yeah, sometimes the linen texture is kind of interesting if you're doing like a rustic flower or something. So it could have been a good thing if that's the look you're going for. So I think I said hello to everybody. Thank you for joining me. I know there's more people. It says there's 7 of you watching at the moment. But thank you for joining me. I do appreciate it. Any suggestions for the next couple weeks? Otherwise, I think I will talk about Christmas treats that you can make at the kind of the last minute, the last few weeks here. I think it's maybe getting a little late to talk about Christmas cards. I know mine are already made, and I just need to address them. So that's what I have for you today. Thank you for joining me. I do appreciate it. And I should be back next week. I think that's all. Bye. Take care, everybody.